with the tower for catch.
Booster coming in. Get ready for that boom, Kate.
Down to 3 engines.
Well, SpaceX's latest Starship prototype has failed in space minutes after launch, according to the company. However, the company successfully caught its massive Super Heavy booster as it returned from space for a second time. Dr. Wendy Whitman-Cobb is a Professor of Strategy and Security Studies at the School of Advanced Air and Space Studies, and she joins me now from Montgomery in Alabama. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Obviously, this will be quite a disappointment for SpaceX. Can you explain what it was that they were hoping to achieve here?
What they were hoping to achieve with this latest test was along the same profile of previous tests. They were looking to do a suborbital shot, meaning they didn't get fully into orbit. It would have landed just to the west of Australia and the Indian Ocean. But what they were looking to do with this test was use a new and upgraded Starship, the portion that failed, and also do some tests in terms of deploying some satellites as well as relighting engines in space, which they need to do in order to be able to go orbital so that they can land the ship back on Earth where they would like.
This was the improved version of the Starship. What was new about it?
It had a whole series of upgrades. The biggest thing physically that we probably would have seen is it's about 2 meters taller than previous versions. They also included upgrades to their avionics systems, their heat tiles. They were testing different versions of that. What they've been doing is sort of putting different kinds of tiles on different portions of the ship, or even removing them completely to see how they would fare in re-entering the atmosphere. They also had a whole lot of added a lot of videos and cameras to the ship so that we could see what happened, and that their engineers would be able to see what happened so that they can fix whatever problems as they encountered here for future Starships.
And we got some absolutely incredible pictures from it that some of them we're looking at now. Wendy, Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin also successfully launched its first orbital mission. What do we know about that launch, and can you take us through how significant it was?
Yeah, it's been a big day for space. That went up a little after 2 a.m. Eastern time here in the United States. For Blue Origin, it's definitely a major milestone. Most people don't realize this, but Blue Origin is actually 2 years older than SpaceX. So they've been in this game quite some time. They do have their New Shepard rocket, which is a suborbital rocket that they use to send scientific experiments, and passengers up into space for just a few minutes. But this is their very first orbital class rocket. And what they were able to do last night was achieve orbit, which was their #1 goal on this mission. They too are looking to return their booster to land it on a barge at sea, much like SpaceX already does with its Falcon 9. Unfortunately, that booster was lost as it returned to Earth. So we have a story of opposites here today. Blue Origin got to space, but lost its booster. SpaceX lost its booster, or lost its Starship, but were able to catch its booster back on Earth.
Wendy, as you just said there, a lot of people wouldn't realise that Blue Origin is actually a bit older than SpaceX. Why has it, I guess, moved a little bit slower or been a little bit more of a quiet achiever?
Yeah. Historically, this is just the sort of approach that they have taken since their beginnings. They have not been as reliant on government contracts or commercial contracts. What they've been doing is getting about $1 billion every year from Jeff Bezos. And so that's really allowed them to sort of take their time in their development, move very carefully, very gradually. Their version of development is much more akin to a traditional model where they really do take their time and work out all of the potential problems before attempting to launch. And that's very different from what we saw from SpaceX today, which is fail fast and iterate even faster. And so that really is what SpaceX has been doing. And that's sort of allowed them to sort of get the jump here on Blue Origin. But it looks like Blue Origin might come roaring back here in the new year.
We're talking about two billionaires with a lot of power in this pretty important area. Is that a concern, do you think?
I can only speak for myself. I do think there are some concerns at times, given that this might just keep space to the billionaire class or to those who can afford it. But I think we have to look at some historical patterns of space development going back to the space race, where we benefit today from a lot of the technological development and spin-offs that were generated by going into space and going to the moon in the 1960s. And so hopefully we'll see some of those similar spin-offs in the coming years. I think one great example is Starlink, which has come about because of this. And we've had really astounding levels of connectivity that have been generated. It's been used in natural disasters, including right now with the fires in Los Angeles. It has been really changed the game for situations like Ukraine, where they have been using it to sustain their military communication. So I think we hopefully will see some more of these technological spinoffs, and this potential concern about the billionaire class might be mitigated some, but I do think it's probably something we need to keep in mind as we move forward.